So, how do I do a video without rambling? I don't know. It's just one of those things. So I took a couple weeks off because I get sick of playing guitar, and it's good advice for everyone. Take a couple days off and reset your mind. So I'm going to show you a lick that was based on years ago that I got asked about because I did it, and someone asked me about it, and it's about ShawnLane. It's not his lick. I met him and he showed me this, and I asked him why he did it, and it made sense to me, so I do it. But I noticed Bonamassa and Eric Johnson do this too, and I don't know if they got it from him, but Sean Lane was a heavy hitter back in the 80s. God rest his soul. And very nice guy. He was a little odd, but he was very nice. And this is one of the things that always stuck with me, and I did it in a different kind of manner. Now you can use it's to deal with these three fingers, and he did it because he played a lot of odd sequences. That was his big thing, so that made sense to me, and his starting points made sense to me. So like he might do it like this. So if he started on the B and count up five, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're ending on the same fret, and then he would go above it with his third. He would do it like that. Now I did it differently. I do it singles. I just took the idea of that going above. So I might go. Stuff like that I was doing. So I played it. No. I might do it like that. I just did it a little differently because I didn't want to sound like him. But I'm glad I did because it ended up sounding like Bonamassa and those guys. So like a Bonamassa kind of lick, or Eric Johnson does do that, but they do a lot of different sequences. So he might go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now you're back here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then from there, you might go back a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To here. You might do something like that. So those are the kind of Bonamassa things. So he would tie that all together. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Something like that. And Bonamassa sometimes does a lot of that. So, in addressing the elephant in the room, like he said, he stole all of Eric Johnson's licks and he apologizes to him. That's public knowledge. There's videos on that on YouTube. But I would do it this way. Stuff like that. By the way, I'm playing through a blue channel with no overdrive, just to drive from the channel. Which goes back into the other YouTube channels. These guitar players edit stuff all the time. And again, I'm not going to do that because I'm no better than anybody else. My level might be, but I do make mistakes like everybody else, and I want everybody to see that. So he's a shred god. Well, maybe because of the level, but I do take a lot of chances, and I make a lot of mistakes. And if you see my videos, sometimes I get caught up in what I'm doing in myself, and I'm like, I'll go, oh, I create a new lick out of something, and then off on a tangent doing something on my own. But that's how we all learn. Which leads me into the Facebook thing. So Facebook, has these algorithms, whatever they're doing with YouTube, and I get tons of these guitar lesson things on my channel on Facebook. And I'm the last guy you want to ask to take lessons, especially if you're not good. A lot of these guys are they don't want to work. They want to do lessons, which is great. But you know what? Go get an effing job. Somebody's got to bring my pizza. Like the sound here. Nobody's going to do that. They want it primo sound. So it sounds good. Me, I don't care. Like I said, you can do that any way you want. And the one I can't stand is Guitar Mastery Method or Method Mastery. The guy that says I toured with Eddie Money. Yeah, but if you wrote one of those hit songs, like 2 Tickets to Paradise or whatever, you wouldn't be asking for guitar lessons because you would have made some money. But you didn't. You're just a hired gun. That's like me with whatever band, Quiet Riot, Uriah Heep. Oh, I played with these bands and, yeah, but I didn't write none of those songs, Stupid. So then I got asked about, we'll go back into the lessons. I got asked about, well, what do you think about Jared Nichols? I'm not going to say he sucks, but he's a mediocre guitar player that's been pushed into the spotlight by these companies like Gibson and he was just a YouTuber going into these guitar shops. His technique is not that good. His vocals are good, but not the way he sings it. He's got a decent voice. His songwriting is not good. There's no hook in it. So that what I mean is he's not playing like that and singing over those chords. He's singing over chords like and then when he has his break, it's but there's no hook. He's got no hook in his songs. So his songwriting to me is horrible. You listen to guys like Richie Kotzen, incredible vocals, incredible songwriting. Bonamassa, incredible vocals, incredible songwriting. Even though he's an Eric Johnson ripoff, I still love him. I love what he's doing as a whole. Richie Kotzen, some of the Richie Sambora stuff on his own. I wish Steve Lukather, Luke, if you're watching, I'm a huge fan. Never got to meet him. But I would love to see Steve Lukather do a raw blues album and sing, because he can sing as good as any lead singer. He does. So I would love to see some of that stuff. And so they said, well, what do you think makes a good guitar player then? I'm like, somebody who plays it 100% night after night, makes a lot of mistakes and covers well. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, I was told a long time ago that I'm a really good guitar player, but I don't take any risk, that I play in a comfort zone live. And that's not good, because you get caught up in these ruts when you don't push yourself, which made sense. So that's why I might do crazy stuff. That kind of stuff. So that's how I got into that. And then, so they asked me, and I said, well, the same thing. So if you make a mistake, instead of just going basic box, can't go in trouble. So if you're going and then you go back down it, so it's a chromatic thing. Those notes aren't in key, but I use it chromatically, and I get in and out of trouble that way. But I have a bunch of counter techniques, like a UFC fighter, where I get in trouble, I can get back out. I think that's what makes a great guitar player. Someone who plays on the edge, plays 100%, pushes themselves, knows how to make mistakes and get out of them. To me, that's a great guitar player, and I love watching guys make mistakes and come back out of it. And then people come up to you and go, "Hey man, what was that? That sounded cool. I don't know, I made a mistake. I'll have to go back and figure it out." But those are the things that make great guitar players. These companies that push marketable people, like a Nichols, who is like a good looking guy, but he's playing blues, so the marketability, the market for him is very low, because in the blues, you don't have tons of women that listen to blues. Not like pop music or the hair bands back then. Most girls like to dance and stuff, but they're not listening to the blues. It's like saying that women listen to metal. Some do, but a lot of women don't listen to metal. The majority are guys, and guys don't want to see good-looking guys for eye candy. Oh, he's got pretty hair. Nobody wants to see that crap. So, going back to this. So, I use it in the different ways. So, I might go. Something like that. So it doesn't sound like a Bonamassa or Eric Johnson. But anyway, that's the lesson. I'm not going to go too much into it. Big shout out. My buddy Mike Crommiller, I'm going to post a video of the guitar. I fixed his neck for him. It had a crack in there, but it's a really cool guitar. I tried to plug it in and it doesn't work. Sorry, Mike. The wiring in there. Something wrong with the wiring. I don't know if it's the jack or anything. And by the way, this is a Gibson Platinum, and I don't know if you can see, it has no fret markers, because this was one of the first ones that came out, which were the rarest, because a lot of people complained they couldn't see where they were on the neck, which doesn't bother me. But a lot of the Gibsons, I have some nice Gibsons, but I collect guitars. I would say if they're unique or not. I don't just buy guitars because I like them. I have, and I do have some like that, but I buy them if they're rare and I like them. It's got a good sound to it. Anyway, has a great sound to it. So those are some of the things that I look for, And again, nothing against Jared Nichols. I think he's just being pushed by the record labels as somebody to get into the blues, to kind of market the blues. And that's not what it's about. Even if you listen to Joe Bonamassa and his technique, incredible technique, and I love the way he plays, but is it real blues? No, it's almost like shreddy blues with good technique and pretty vocals. If you listen to real blues and like Delta blues, it was raw. I mean, the vocals get out of pitch, and it was about emotion and feeling. It wasn't about these perfectly produced songs. Even Elvis, "When the mambo any way you do," his vocal in that was rough to me. But that's what made that song to me, But that's like the blues, and not just Elvis. I mean, you go back to Robert Johnson and some of those guys, the blues playing and stuff. Like if you listen to some of the blues, like in the movie Crossroads, you know, when they're in the juke houses and stuff, and they're playing harmonicas and stuff like that, and going off, but it's like a feeling. It's a soulful feeling that of letting loose, and to me, that's the real blues. Now you can let loose as a blues player, but there is a difference. In one of my favorite blues guitar players has got to be Stevie Ray Vaughan. I mean, I watch him close his eyes and sweat all over the guitar and just play. He's playing his ass off, and it's coming all out of his heart and his soul. I mean, you can't deny that when you watch him. When I watch him, I get goosebumps because he's just in that zone, you know. And you don't see that with a lot of guitar players. That's what I'm saying. These like Jared Nicholas isn't really blues. Stevie Ray Vaughan was. You know, you could see a difference. You know, and Stevie played sloppy sometimes too, and that was part of the playing. You know, so going back to the Facebook thing real quick. So there was a guy on there on one of these guitar things and for lessons, and he's from another country, and he's young, but he was getting into a little spat. Somebody said, "Oh, I'll keep my sloppiness," and he's like, "Well, why would you practice to be sloppy?" But he doesn't understand. He doesn't come from the United States, and I don't know if he understands the root of the blues guitar. Hendrix played clean with Little Richard, but with Hendrix, as he came into his own, became sloppy. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Keith Richards. There were a lot of sloppy guitar players that are legendary, and you can't knock them and say that they suck, because without them, I don't exist. Fractal don't exist. Nothing exists without them, because it started a wave that was on some kind of mission. What I mean is, without them, nothing would have ever got started, and minds wouldn't turn. Pete Townsend and Jeff Beck, they all admired Hendrix, you know, even if it was it's sloppy for a reason. Now, there's no need to play sloppy in classical or jazz, but you got punk rock and all these other genres where it's conducive, and it sounds great. And without playing sloppy and punk, it's not punk anymore. So he didn't realize what he was saying because he's young and he's just not educated enough. And I'll get into some more of it in another video, because then he started trying to quiz me. Now remember, I have a degree from GIT and University of Miami. So he asked me what negative harmony was. So I said, "Do you mean negative modality?" And he didn't answer, because that's what it's really called. Negative harmony and negative melody are just a part of the modality. And basically, I'll tell you what it is. So you play a C major scale, you know, and you're playing in C. So when I start on the G and I run every note up in parallel, I go to a G scale, and I play the G over the C. I play the A over a D in unison, parallel, and you create like these weird harmonies and stuff as you run it up. That's the whole basis off an axis point of a note and other notes playing over notes to get harmonies and melodies. And you could end up using some of them in the different scales to create different things. But basically, even if you go to the F sharp, right there, which would be a B, right? So this note in a B chord, you got a B, but in an F sharp, there's the B. So if you go into the C, that seventh note in the B, and the B in the C major, is related to the F sharp. So you create these weird. So even on the seventh degree, you're creating a tone that's conducive to the other tone in another key. Very odd. It's something that a lot of people don't know, they don't use, and it was coined later on. The guy who came up with this theory didn't even call it that. It wasn't even called that later until later on, but that's the basis of it. But he tried to school me on it, and he didn't even know what he was asking, because then I showed him and I said he was wrong, and then he said, "Oh." So that's the ignorance part of the level of some of these players on YouTube, or asking for lessons. Now I'm like, listen, you shouldn't be asking me that or saying stuff like this, because this is on the page that you're trying to make money, and people are going to see that you don't know what you're talking about. It's not a good idea. But he still did it anyway and didn't listen, which kind of is stupid to me, because why would you get in those kind of conversations where it shows that you don't know what you're even talking about when you're trying to quiz somebody on it, and then they school you? Now you look like, as a teacher, you don't know what you're talking about, because he thought it was like in the Creep song where you go, where you're just taking the minor, major to minor, you flatten the third, so you're going. He thought it was that to create a different sound. Not really. That's something that somebody just did because he took his finger off. They weren't smart enough to do that in Creep and know what negative and harmony and modality was. It was just something they did. You would have to have somebody say, hey, I wrote a composition or came up with these harmonies using the negative modality theory and idea, and this is what it sounds like. And then if it's a hit song or something that was changing or everlasting, then you could say, well, look at this is what they did. Now I would see more of that done like in a progressive metal manner, because of the sound of it, but not in pop, not in hair metal. It would be something with heavy sounds and stuff like that, because it's dark sounding to me. But anyway, the other thing, please like and subscribe. It shows I have an analysis thing. 70% of people that watch these videos aren't subscribed. All you got to do is hit the subscribe button. It doesn't hurt you. It just lets you know that, hey, another video came out of this guy. Because if you're interested in what I do and you watch many videos, more than one, hit the subscribe. You don't even have to add the like button. Just hit subscribe so that when I do a new video, you get it, Because like I said, all this information's free. I want to get out as much of it as I can to every guitar player at every level, because no matter what I talk about, there is going to be something that you can learn from. Just because I'm older, I've toured the world, I've done a lot of things and played with a lot of great guitar players in the world. So if you see something and you have a question, don't be afraid to ask it. Say, hey, you said you played with Frank Gambale. Do you know what he was doing when he was taking that one chord and doing this and playing that over? Whatever the question is, I'm just, making something up. And if I do, I'll tell you. If I don't, I'll say, no, you would have to explain it out of a video so I could see what he's doing, and then maybe I can tell you what he's doing. Other than that, it's pretty much just like subscribe if you want. Subscribe, but like if you want. Backwards. And it's good to be back, and it's good to take a break. So don't be afraid to take breaks. You're not going to lose anything. You got a lifetime to learn. All right? Peace out and have a good day. Peace.